Everybody, this is Keith, and this is your Sunday Short for September 10th, 2023. On Friday, a couple days ago, we had a very nasty thunderstorm come through here in Richmond, Virginia. It was kind of predicted, but not to be as intense as it was. Now, I've grown up in the Midwest, and I am very familiar with thunderstorms and tornadoes, but I'll tell you what, when this thing kicked up, several minutes before it hit, I heard some rumbling and some thundering way off in the distance. I looked towards the direction of the thunder, and I saw some very large thunderheads forming, clouds going straight up in the air. So I knew there was a storm coming. Went inside. About 5 minutes later, heard some raindrops on the skylight. By the time I got out to the garage to go get Mr. Rogers, the outdoor cat, and to check on the chickens, the wind had picked up. The sky was pitch black. The wind was whipping around the trees. And I really thought this was going to be a significant storm with significant damage, especially to my yard. We lost power almost immediately, didn't have power restored for about 20 hours. About 60,000 folks in the Richmond metro area were without power at the time, but I have my tri-fuel generator as well as my solar generator and extra batteries and my solar panels. Solar generators were topped off. Not an issue, plugged in a couple fridges, freezer, fans, and I was able to make it through the night and the next day when power was restored without any issues. So, speaking of solar, last week I probably had 2 or 3 people stop by as I was messing around in the yard and the garage and ask about my solar panels. So we talked for a few minutes and I gave them the rundown, what they are and how I use them, and just more of a hobby thing for me than anything else. Well, I had a chance to talk to somebody else in the neighborhood, and he was telling me about the solar panels that he had installed about a year ago on the roof of his home. And he said, it's fantastic. I love it. And so I asked him some of the parameters. I'm like, well, how is it set up? He goes, well, I don't pay much of an electric bill. Instead of a $250 electric bill, there are times when I pay $15 and $20. And I said, okay. I said, how much was the solar setup and how much are your payments? And then he told me like $180. And I said, how long are you paying that for? He says, well, I'm paying that for 10 years. But did you hear that I only pay about $25 a month on my power bill? And I'm like, yeah, I understand that. That's great. I said, what kind of battery backup do you have so when the power goes out? And he wasn't sure what I meant. I said, yeah, your battery bank. So during the day, you charge up your batteries. So when you lose power, you then have battery power to power your home. And he looks at me and he says, do you know that I only pay about $25 a month on my power bill? I said, that's fantastic. But at 11 p.m. when you lose power, what powers your home? And he goes, nothing. And I said, why don't you invest in a battery backup system? Yeah, but you see, my power bill is really low. And so I'm like selling my power back to the power company. And so I had a hard time getting him to understand that that's great. And it's fantastic that he's paying $25 a month, give or take, for his power bill. But his payment on top of that, now if he's planning on staying there 10, 15, 18 years, it might pay for itself. But, folks, if you're thinking about that, just do your homework. A lot of people have jumped on to, renewable energy, solar panels, woohoo. Well, for the most part, solar panels are very, very ineffective. And maybe, in the years down the road, they'll, be able to harness more power and they'll be worth what we're paying for them. You put a solar panel on the roof, it's 100 watts. If you get 40, 50, 60, 70, depending on the angle and the sun and all that, then that's great. But you're not going to be able to put a 200-watt solar panel on your roof and get 200 watts every day, all day. So it just depends on what you want. So please do your homework and see if solar's right for you. For me, it's more of a hobby thing, and it does what I need it to do. As I do more homework, as I educate myself, I will certainly go ahead and expand if I need to. All right, folks, this has been your Sunday Short for September 10th, 2023. Everybody have a good day. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And as always, be safe out there. Take care of one another. And until next time.